Thank you for joining today's episode of the 30-Minute Growth Session. Growth happens when we take action. So take the insights from today's show and turn them into impact. You're just one step away from the next level. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's grow together. See you next week. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the 30-Minute Growth Session. Today, I am joined by Julie Beckwith, who has this blog called Living on the Patio. Welcome to the show, Julie.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Lisa. I really appreciate being here.
So why don't you tell, before we get to living on the patio, and let me just set the record straight. It is Friday, March 14th, 2025. It is 70 degrees here in the Chicagoland area,
Yay!
but we
Oh,
keep getting these alerts on our phones about bad weather, category 3, this or that. So it's 70 degrees right now, but it is very windy. And
mm,
there's always that question in the back of your mind of do I have to go in the basement today?
mm.
So, Julie, tell our listening viewing audience about your living on the patio concept.
You bet. Well, after a career in product management for the fifth largest national bank and owner of a successful marketing agency, my husband Randy and I started our blog, livingonthepatio.com, based on our experience during the pandemic to create an outdoor living space. And then we hoped to assist like minded homeowners by providing information, advice, and resources. But interestingly, it was after I suffered a Minoka in 2023 that this actually became a mission for me. Now, Minoka stands for myocardial infarction with non obstructive coronary arteries. It's a fancy way, as you know, of saying I had a heart attack due to stress. Luckily, I have no blocked arteries. My valves are clean. There's no plaque. But what I learned is that none of that mattered because the toll that stress took on my body, our bodies, chronic stress in particular, was really sobering. And the more I learned, the more concerned I became. So many diseases, not just heart disease, but certain cancers and IBS and even allergies that are stress related can be life threatening and life draining. And I think we need to find ways to reduce stress for ourselves and our families because I believe in America, we have just gotten so used to stress, chronic stress in particular, we don't even recognize it anymore. It's just part of our daily life. And I think many people would like to learn what to do beyond the healthy eating and exercising and medical care. So it really, as I said, became a mission for me. I learned that one big way to reduce stress is to create an environment that helps that. And that's outdoors, our outdoor living space. So I know it should come as no surprise to anyone that to sit outside and enjoy the sights and sounds of nature is good for you. I mean, many people know about the benefits of gardening, but I was surprised, and I think other people are too, to find the simple but specific ways that your own outdoor living space can be the preferred way to improve the many areas of your health. So that was the basis of my research and what I would like to share with you right now.
Oh my gosh. So there's a couple of things you said. So number
Okay.
one, you took us back to the thing, which is the pandemic that
Yes.
many of us were sheltered in place. Even if you were, depending on the type of essential worker that you were, we were sheltered in place. And what's so weird about that time was we had spent years remodeling the inside of our house, but just kind of slowly started with the outside, right? So I have a gazebo in my backyard. I have kind of like this I don't want to call it netting, but a cover around it, and a fire pit. And it's something about when I sit out there with a book, with
Mhm.
a glass of wine,
Mhm.
with a cup of hot tea in the morning. It does something to my spirit and my soul. So you are absolutely correct. I can't wait to learn more from you. But the other thing that you said, which I think is something that we often neglect, is yes, having a healthy heart, et cetera, is so important. But the mental state
Mhm.
of us from this go, 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 go is literally, what could take us out of here. And you having suffered a heart attack, you know that your life changed suddenly, and it honestly could have been over, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, I think the big takeaway for me is that, my heart is healthy. I mean, I went into the ER thinking I was having a heart attack and knowing that I would probably be having a stent, or, maybe there would be a bypass surgery discussed or whatever, even though I had tried for years to make sure that I had eaten healthy and exercised in the whole bit. So, on the one hand, it was great to learn from a physical viewpoint that there was nothing wrong with my heart. But from an emotional or a mental viewpoint, it didn't matter. I still suffered a heart attack that could have been very debilitating and fatal. So, absolutely.
Wow. I'm just reminded of my aunt who passed, I think it was last year. And she was diagnosed with dementia, Lewy body, I believe it was Lewy body dementia. And she talked about how all of these years she protected her body, but
Mm.
God took her mind. And I'm
Mm.
just reminded of her life. I'm reminded of how I would say the last decade of her life, she really started to, from my perspective, really, really live life. Like she went on a cruise. She did some things that I think we often try to put at the end of our life, but the
Mhm.
the end of your life is not guaranteed. And so
Mhm.
I think that we all need to take some steps back and look at how we're living. And during the pandemic, I think many of us learned you don't necessarily have to go on a fancy vacation. You could have a vacation, an escape in your own living space if you take the time to set it up. I know I could be sitting outside. Now, of course, Chicago, right? We only have like we only have like 3 to 4 months of warm weather. Like right now, this 70 degrees, you go outside, you're like, oh, it's nice. But you're like, wait a minute, it's March, you could get pneumonia. But it's just something about going outside in that warmer
Mhm.
weather, the sun shining down on your body. Sometimes I just stand outside and I'm just like, thank you, God, right? Because I
Mhm.
feel like when you're sheltered in place, working from home, all the
Mhm.
things, you kind of get you lose sight of that.
Mhm.
And I think, we have these messages on our watch, like take 10 minutes to
Yes.
meditate, breathe. I want to see Apple put take 5 minutes and go outside and just walk around and breathe in the air and let the sun hit your body. Us Midwesterners, we have the vitamin D deficiency. And
Yes.
so, every time I go for my annual exam and they say you got to take those pills, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm already taking the
Yes.
vitamin pills. Like, so I,
Yes.
I literally need to get the free sun, the free
Mhm.
vitamin D.
And you only need 15 minutes. That's the beauty of the vitamin D. That's one of the things I try to get people to promote. And Dr. Lisa, you said something that I want to come back to. We look to do things at the end of our life, instead of looking at what can I do today to help my emotional health, to help my mental health. And the other thing that I think, I don't have any research on this, but just anecdotally, I think we as women, we are the ones who are the caretakers of the family health. So if we don't take care of ourselves and set the example, no one else in the family is going to do that. So that's, I think, the other message that I'm trying to get across to people is that there are things you can do and should do today to help with your mental health that really aren't going to take up a whole lot of your time. As I said, one of them is 15 minutes of sunshine is going to help get your vitamin D levels, and that's going to help the inflammation in your body that chronic stress causes. So that's part of the message, I guess, that I would like to share with you and your audience is to look at what are those things you can do today that's not going to be disruptive to your schedule. Morning coffee outside is fantastic. Even taking your lunch outside in the sunshine just for 15 minutes or walking around the block, anything that's going to give you that 15 minutes of sunshine that you need.
Yes. And you know what? It's something about summer mornings for me
Mm.
with my, first of all, I'm a tea drinker. I don't drink coffee, but drinking my cup of hot tea on the patio, listening to nature,
Mhm.
is something freeing about that experience. And it's allowing me to just take a moment in time for me, nobody
Yes.
else, right? So, drinking my tea, listening to the natural sounds of the earth. And then, of
Mhm.
course, I'm very inquisitive. So, I'm like, I wonder what that noise was, right? Just trying to really zone out and just take in all the noises that are around me. And then at some point you start to not even hear the noises and you just allow your body to be in this relaxed state. And it's hard because I
Mhm.
maintain a list of things to do, right? So if I don't take the list of things to do, if I don't take this thing, my
Mhm.
cell phone with me, or if I want to put some music on with no words, leave the phone in the house, it really does something for my mental state. And I'm
Mhm.
so happy it's getting warmer outside because I told my husband, let's take the wrapper off the gazebo today. He's like, no, not today. Let's let this bad weather pass by. But it's something about being outside.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you also mentioned something that I want to emphasize as well is that really your yard should be a space that you live in, not just work in, not just mow the lawn, not just take the netting off of the gazebo. I mean, really, an outdoor living space should be a space where you relax and you spend time doing something enjoyable just the same way that you would do inside your kitchen or your dining room or your den. I mean, I think again, we have to change our perspective a little bit about making sure we are using our yards for living because it's really going to benefit our health. I mean, after all, it is our yard. We've bought it. We're paying taxes on it. We're working to maintain it. Let's make sure we're using it to the utmost advantage that we possibly can.
Now, Julie, you don't know, you just hit a nerve for those of us who are
Uh-oh.
in Illinois because our taxes went up. Our
Oh.
mortgage literally jumped up like $500 for taxes
Oh.
this year. So that's even more reason you're paying all
Mhm.
this money you need to enjoy. And I it's my hope that some of the habits that we were forced to create during the pandemic that we keep them going. Now, I will
Mhm.
tell you, I am the type of person who loves to get the stamp on the passport. I love to get on the plane, but I'm okay if I don't go anywhere, but I'm able to go outside to my space and
Mhm.
just be in my place of serenity, right? My place of peace. And I don't know. I know I'm slightly younger than you. I say slightly because I don't know. It's something about once you cross that 50s mark,
Hmm.
and then I heard 60s too, right? It's just
Yes.
something that a little switch flips on that's like, you know what? You don't have to do all the things. You're not
Yep.
going to do all the things. No is a complete sentence,
Sentence.
and
Yep.
you need to focus on you because how can you be there for everybody else if you're not
Yes.
taking the time for you?
Yes, very much so. I totally agree with that. And I think also that's some of that is our upbringing. I mean, I was raised by parents who really did not know how to relax. Even when we went on vacation, it was mostly vacation to go and visit relatives. Very rarely did we go as a family just to some place that nobody knew anything about. And I think we're better. I mean, our my siblings, my contemporaries were better about that. But even today, I find myself getting restless if I'm not doing something. I have to force myself to go on the patio and relax, because I feel like I'm being unproductive or inefficient or something. And that's what I mean when I talk about the consciousness of making sure that if you need that consciousness of I'm out here on the patio for my health in order to get those benefits, then yes, that's what you need to do. So
Yes. And just made me think of this song. I want to go where everybody knows my name. I don't want to do that. I don't want anybody to know my name. I literally want to be by myself
solitude.
for myself.
Yes. Yes.
Right? I think
Yes.
sometimes we thrive off of being seen and being busy. And I'm going to be the first person to raise my hand.
Mhm.
I was always that busy, busy, busy person. But I'm going to be honest, the last 2 or 3 years, I'm like, yeah, working on Saturday. No,
Yes.
I do like minimal things on Saturday. Working on Sunday. No, right? Just going back to what other countries are doing, right? You have that
Yes.
minimal work week and you spend more time living, not
Yes.
living for the weekend, but living every
Period.
moment of the day.
Yes. Yes. And that goes back to what I was talking about stress, the difference between what you might consider regular stress, if you will, and chronic stress. Regular stress is called acute stress, and that's something that we all experience probably on a daily basis. It's when someone cuts you off in traffic, or you lose your keys and you have to be somewhere, or you're having a disagreement with your spouse or something. I mean, those things cause your heart rate to go up, your blood pressure to go up, but it's temporary because eventually you find your keys, you resolve the disagreement with whoever you're having a disagreement with, you can calm down and get where you need to go in traffic. And so that resolves itself. But chronic stress is the stress that happens in situations where there is no end in sight. And our bodies were not designed to handle that stress. So it causes inflammation in our bodies. It weakens the immune system. It slows down our body's ability to heal. It contributes to mental health disorders like anxiety and depression and insomnia, and it really impairs our memory. So there's a reason why we really need to reduce the chronic stress, because it's going to reduce the inflammation that's coursing around in our bloodstream. And so the emphasis on living, that's why that's important, is because if you have chronic stress, and we all do, it's because we're not seeing that end in sight. So it's almost as though your body needs you to get off the off ramp and go on to the rest area. It's okay, for you to do that. Yep.
Take a time out.
Exactly. So that's an important thing for us to remember too. And that chronic stress, that inflammation in our body, that's what does the damage to our organs. That's what does the damage to our brains, causes plaque to build up. I mean, all the things that stress can do that then you do need to take the pills for, and then you do need to, have the medical procedures for. So aren't there ways that we can take now, things that we can do now to help reduce that?
Oh, Julie, you know what? You just said something that as soon as we're done with this live 30-minute growth session, I'm going to have to call a friend who has
Uh-oh.
been sick for about 3 months. And I firmly believe that what is prolonging her respiratory illness are the effects of
Mm.
long-term stress. This woman is a high performer. She has climbed the glass ceiling, but at what cost?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm going to have a conversation with her about, first I'm going to tell her that I love her. But I'm going to tell her that I want her to be around to see her grandkids do all the things. And that in order to do that, she has to take the first step of scaling back that need to be busy, that need to control everything, and really take one step forward in controlling the outcome of her overall health.
That is a great idea. That is an excellent idea. I hope everyone actually does that, not just for their friends and family, but even for themselves, because you're probably 6 months away from being in the same place that your friend is. I mean, you could be. So we want to make sure, again, that we are mirroring the kind of behavior we want our families to follow. So can I give you some tips to share with her of what she can do?
Yes, yes. And I'm glad that this is live. This is now everybody probably is like, whoa, is this live? So usually we pre-record and then stream later. But you and I was sick, right? And then we were
Yes.
kind of trying to figure out schedules. And so I was like, the moment we are able to get together, we are going to go live because it's Women's History Month.
Yes.
And not everything is about women. However, women, we do kind of run the world. Uh, we make the world, we're like the heartbeat to the world.
Exactly.
And I knew that there were some things that you were going to share with our listening viewing audience. And so that's why you're like the first this year for us to go
Wow.
live.
An
Everybody else,
honor.
we pre-record and then stream later. So you are the first. And so I'm excited about what you're going to share.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, one of the things I had already mentioned was going outside for 15 minutes of sunshine. So hopefully everyone is looking at their calendars and looking at their watches, and if you have to schedule it, schedule it. But again, remember that a lot of what it is that we need to do is really look at what can I do every day for my overall health. So that's one thing. Another is, again, we're looking to reduce inflammation, and it's to practice something called earthing or grounding. Now, Dr. Lisa, you're gonna point your finger at me because you're in Chicago and you probably have still snow in the ground. But let me share with you what earthing or grounding is. It refers to the direct skin contact with the surface of the earth, such as with your bare feet or your bare hands. The earth supplies the body with negative electrons, and it neutralizes damaging free radicals that are linked with chronic inflammation. And that's according to a published study at the National Institute of Health. So to connect with the earth's natural charges, some of the things that we can do is just walk outside barefoot. I mean, that is a great way to get that connection. Or you lie on the ground or in the grass or even on the sand. It's one of the reasons I think why so many people love to go to the beach, because that's what they do. They go to the beach and they're laying around and they're getting the natural electrical charges that we get from the earth. So gardening barefoot, if you have a garden, and you are weeding, or even if you're picking your produce, whatever it is that you're doing, do it without shoes on. That's a great way for you to get that earthing or grounding experience. You can read a book or play with your children in the backyard without shoes. I like to eat lunch outside in my bare feet, with my feet on the ground. I like to do that. Or even if you can take a nap on the bare earth. These are all great ways to practice that earthing or grounding. So that's one of the things that I think is just a quick and easy thing for people to do on a regular basis.
Now I gotta think about this grounding. So as soon as we're done with this live, my husband and I are gonna go to the grocery store before the wind gets too heavy. So okay, I don't know about my shoes, but I'm gonna put my hands on the ground just just to see what it feels like, and I'm gonna bend down and get on the ground.
Okay.
And that's significant for me because September of last year, I fell and fractured my ankle and had
Oh,
surgery, and I was confined to my bedroom for like 4 months.
oh,
So being able to get down on the ground, put my hands on the ground, for me has many meanings, right?
yes.
It's that I'm on the other side of this. I'm actually walking instead of hopping. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna let you know how I feel. Now, I am very squeamish, so land on the grass,
I understand.
I can't do it. But I think I could do my feet too. It just depends on the temperature, right? And because like you said, it's Chicago, it's 70 degrees right now, but it's probably some snow in some areas still sitting there. I'll have to see which one I'm going to do.
All right.
Definitely my hands.
And try and get your hands into dirt. I mean, that's the if you can even do some gardening without your gloves on. I mean, and of course it depends. I mean, obviously, if you've had your nails done and you're going out, you don't want to have you don't want to have to worry about, the emergency um, trip to the nail tech, in order to fix something. But it's where our hands and our feet feel that dirt, feel that grass. So yes, do let me know how that turns out.
So, Julie, we are almost out of
Oh,
time, but you have
okay.
some really cool things on your website, which we're going to display in a second. But tell us about some of the freebies that you have or information that you have on your website.
Absolutely. We've tried to talk about the health benefits of outdoor living spaces, and we've only talked about 2 or 3, but there really are many more. So, visitors to our site, which is livingonthepatio.com, can subscribe to get a free download, just a 4-page document that actually covers all the benefits that we've identified, that we haven't had time to talk about, but it also includes the simple ways that you can get those benefits in your own space. So anyone who's listening and is interested, please feel free to go. It's under offers, and on almost every blog post that we have on our site, it's free to be a subscriber, and it will always remain free. I'm not going to, I'm not ever going to be one of those people, I think, that's ever going to charge for membership. So that's one thing. But the other thing is, if you need help in getting creative about how can I create a backyard that I see as my sanctuary, as I see as part of my solitude, we have 2 kinds of kits, if you will. There's a starter kit that's available for purchase under offers on our site. And then there's also a guide that's available as well. The starter kit is really more of a DIY that you can take and do yourself. And I also have a nice little wine bottle light that I send out for everyone who's interested in that. But the guide comes with 3 30-minute sessions with me to help you understand those things you can do now, the DIY or the professional hire that you will need.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for finally coming on the 30-minute growth session. I know that I've learned a lot today. I promise you, I'm going to put my hands on the ground. I don't have a green thumb, so I'm not going to even explore gardening. Our yard is very simple, very clean. But, maybe as I get a little older, maybe I'll develop a green thumb. My husband actually said recently, we need to start growing our own vegetables in our backyard because of
Yep.
how expensive everything is getting.
Many people are. I just finished a gardening course to do exactly that. So I'll have to share that with you some other time.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
thank you again. And everyone else, thank you so much for listening, watching the 30-minute growth session, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much,
Welcome
Dr. Lisa.
to the 30-minute growth session, the show where transformation takes center stage. Hosted by me, Dr. Lisa L. Campbell, the Growth Motivator. Each week, we bring you dynamic guests who are all sharing actionable insights to empower your personal and professional journey. Are you ready to grow? Let's get started with today's episode.